I am already changing things on my vehicle. What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker Bushcraft. So I am changing things, but some things I already told you about. As you notice, I added a tent, and on the other side, what you can't see but will see soon, I added a big batwing awning. So definitely cool stuff happening, but I know what everybody's waiting for because they've been waiting for it from the last video. And if you haven't seen the last video, I put the link below. It's talking about this build itself, how it came about, and now we're going to talk about the gear that is in it, because we all love gear. Like, we are gear junkies. I'm a gear junkie. I love it. I want to dig right into it. So before we dig into the gear itself, I want you to have a little understanding of why I have it loaded out the way I have it loaded out. The vehicle itself, of course, you could say Overland Rig, souped up camping mobile, whatever it may be. My recreation recently that I absolutely love is going on the weekend with my family, my wife and my child, and camping, state parks or campgrounds or wherever, in the middle of the woods. As long as we're out camping, I have a good time. And a lot of individuals will relate when I say this. They are not always as excited to go as I am because they might not have the comforts of home. Plus, it is an extreme hassle to take your whole family camping because you got to sort of prepare for everybody. So I wanted that to be somewhat seamless. So my goal with this build was, when we're going to leave the house and head out on a trip, everybody just grabs a bag of clothes and out the door we go. The only thing I have to take other than the vehicle and my wife and my kid is my bag of clothes, and I have a big bin that has like utility stuff in. So like dry goods, like cooking goods, coffee, paper towels, paper plates, all that, and I slide that in the back. Otherwise, everything is here, from our sleeping quarters to our maintenance gear to our gear if we're gonna go out and enjoy the woods and maybe do a little bit of bushcrafting as a family, any of that stuff, it's all in the rig. So with that said, let's dig in. And I want you, while I'm going through this, if you don't have something like this or you're thinking about building it, number one, if you're thinking about building it, great, you're gonna get to see all the cool stuff. If you have maybe a truck or a van, a lot of this stuff might give you good ideas for how you can set your thing up, so it's just more convenient for you when you go out. And then if you don't have any of that stuff and you're just camping out of a car, again, the gear I have is like the luxury convenience of car camping. At the end of the day, we all love car camping. It's probably how we all started anyway. All right, now onto the gear. Now, when I think about my truck loadout, okay, really the bread and butter of that is my rack system on the back. It is where I started with my accessory build, and I built everything out from there. When I first started looking at racks, it was like, there are so many different racks on the market. They all look the same. Prices are all over the place. What do I actually need? Then I started looking at accessories, and then I hammered it down, and I fell in love with this Leitner Designs rack, okay? So the rack that all this stuff's mounted to is like the bones, the structure of keeping everything together. So without a good rack, not much else is gonna happen. So from my experience so far with my truck, a good rack gets you a really long, far way. Again, Leitner Designs, it has cross members up top, and then really nice looking all around. Now, what I also liked about this company, Leitner Designs, when I was looking for a rack, was they also make gear. So I was like, well, if they're making gear for the rack, they obviously know what's going on, or at least hope they know what's going on. It ended up they knew what was going on. All their stuff super solid. We're gonna go through that and show you everything. So starting here, what most people notice and they say, what in the world is that? So these are roto packs, okay? Now these are not made by Leitner Designs. They make all the racking system and the pods and stuff, but they make the mounts for the roto packs. So the roto packs, these are water cans that literally are just held on here with friction. So I just turn this lever like that a whole bunch of times, and then the water pack comes right off, and I have 2 gallons of drinking water. along with me. Of course, I have a second one here. Rotopack also makes fuel packs, and I even saw some like emergency packs that they open up. They look like little suitcases that mount on here. And again, this mounts to the different mounting systems. So for me, fresh water was extremely important. I'm not in an area where I am gonna run out of fuel, so I fuel up when we're gonna go off-roading. And then to me, having fresh water, not dealing with having to boil or do anything in this type of scenario, way more efficient. Okay, so moving on. Now again, we're in no specific order here. We're looking at Lightner, the same people who make the rack. They also make these gear pods. This is a dual gear pod. They remind me a lot of the carpenters who used to put the big heavy steel cases on the side of their vehicles, except these are way nicer and definitely more usable. So they open up, they also lock, open it up. Now this compartment itself is more my utility style gear. So really just stuff that I'm not gonna need all the time, but it's available when I do need it. So I carry, this is a trash bag actually. It goes on the back of my wheel, okay, my spare wheel, which we're gonna talk about that. That goes on my spare wheel, that way I'm not hauling trash and it's not leaking all over everything. It's just in there on the back. If it drips, who cares? And I also have in here all my recovery gear. So I have a tree strap. This is what you wrap around the tree, and then you attach your winch line to this, or in my case, I also have a whoopee recovery sling. So this is like a whoopee sling you think for a hammock, except way heavier duty, so I can tow with this. I can also extend my winch line out with this. So I have some recovery gear in here, shackles, and then I also have a big torque wrench in here with the proper size head on this to tighten all my lug nuts down, or if I need to take off my rear tire carrier for some reason, everything is in this case. So I look at this like, again, that utility type stuff. Always have to be safe, so I keep gloves and I keep safety glasses in here. I keep a flashlight in there too in case it's dark. Now I did mount lights on top of my gear pod, so it's just a push light and the thing comes on, lights up. But if I need something outside of that, I have a flashlight, and I literally have flashlights and headlights all over the place on this thing. And then last but not least, so these things you set your pressure on according to your tire, because when you go off-roading, you air down your tires. So you literally screw these on and they just let air out to a certain pressure. Quick, easy, and efficient. So I keep them in here because when I'm going to go off-roading, I just open up my side bin and I grab these and air down. Now jumping to the other side of the vehicle, as you can see, a little bit different setup. So we have this funky looking thing, and this is the extra large gear pod from Lightner Designs. Again, more storage for me. Let's talk about this funky thing for 1 second though, because this is probably everybody's favorite. After they look at the roto packs and they're like, what are those? They're like, what's that weird thing on the back? So it's actually a pressurized water system. So I keep this hose in the back bed of the truck, and what I do is I pull it out when I need it. Literally, it just snaps on to the system. You turn it on, and if you need to pressurize it, which it's already pressurized, but you take this top and you literally pump it up, right? So you pump it up. Takes a second your first time because you got to push the air out of the system. But look at this. So I literally have pressurized water, okay? So a couple cool things with this. I get to spray my kid with it. I sprayed my wife once with it. That did not, I suggest highly do not do that. My favorite thing is washing dishes, and we're going to talk in a minute here my whole concept about why it's arranged the way it is. But yeah, so we have pressurized water. Super, super cool. This thing, same, you know, you open it up. This is all my cooking equipment. So we have a bunch of different stuff in here. I'll pull it out. We have, this is an entire Dutch oven set. So with the legs, with the carry handle, a baking rack, everything is in this kit right here. So I do keep that in there because most of the time we're going to campsites, right? So if I can get a fire going, we cook over the campfire. If we can't cook over the campfire, what I do have is I have a gas grill. Okay, so that sits really nicely in there. And then to go along with that, I have my propane tank. So this is a small refillable propane propane tank. Okay, these things are really nice. They come in all different sizes, but this is the one I have with me for my grill. And then lastly, in this compartment, we have just some cooking stuff. So I have 2 cups for our coffee. We have some bowls. There's some plates inside these pots that nest together, and a wash basin. Okay, so moving to the back of the vehicle, we have my spare tire, and this is on a rigged tire swing, ultra swing. And then what's cool about this is when I open up, I have this thing here, which if I unclip, this thing folds down, and this gives me a place to put my grill. Top of this swing arm with the cook, and then what's also cool, I'm gonna pull back so you can see a little bit, is on the side, there's a built-in cutting board. So I can prep my food or lay my food here if I need it, and then this is nice and out of the way, so when I drop my tailgate, now I have all this room to be able to put my ice cold beer, my second beer, and my third beer, my fourth beer, and then we just do all the food stuff over there. Now, what you'll notice inside is that I also have a decked system. So a decked system is placed in the back of a truck, and what happens is that it gives you storage. These are pull-out drawers. There are 2 of them, and then each corner of the deck system has what they call ammo cans. They're basically just big open compartments. Stuff can get wet inside of those, so I have stuff like old rope, bungee cords, ratchet straps. I keep the water system sprayer in one of those, so it's just quick, easy access to stuff that you're not too worried about that you might need. In the drawers themselves, I have them loaded with gear, so I'm going to show you them now. So front compartment of the deck drawer, I have all different types of bank line, paracord, larger rope, some braided line, all that kind of stuff. Can't forget my koozie for my brewski. So all that stuff's right in the front because I use this all the time when I'm out. Now in this compartment, this is something that I'm still working on. I have some tools, hammer, I have a socket set, I have wrenches, screwdrivers, more wrenches, all that kind of stuff is right in here in case I need to work on anything or if I'm around the property and need anything. This next case is super big and super heavy, but it is awesomeness. So as I was saying earlier, when you go off-roading, you need to air down your tires, but that means you also need to air them back up. So this is the ARB air compressor system. It is an all-in-one portable system. You can also put these on board, meaning that they're mounted in your vehicle, but I wanted this to take from my van to my truck if we need it to work on our tractors or anything like that here. This is powerful enough to run air tools and everything. So this fills up my tires, and also if I need it for any type of utility work, I have it. It's just big, it's heavy, but for me, it's gonna really get the job done. Now, one of the things with the deck system that like sort of sucks, but I mean, I understand why it can't. You can't pull the drawers all the way out. So there is a compartment, a good amount of compartment still in the deck, okay? So the way you combat that, which I was like, what am I gonna put back there, is you use a supplied bin. This is one of the supplied bins that they give you when you get the system, okay? It fits back there perfectly. There's a grab handle here. You literally just pull the thing out and all your gear's there. So this is my utility bin. When I get into camp, what I do with this is I take this, and you can see I have more utility bins than the other one. They go under the tailgate. They're totally waterproofed. I don't care if they get wet, if it rains, whatever. They're under there. If we need stuff in them, we just open up and grab it. My utility kit, just looking at the top without ripping everything out, we have garbage bags, Ziploc bags, paper towels, dishwashing liquid, wash rags, heat gloves for like around the fire and stuff, and then we have all the normal utility stuff: batteries, duct tape, bug spray, WD-40, sunscreen, zip ties, glue, all that kind of the stuff that you think you don't need till you're out and you need it. So second drawer, just so many goodies. Where to even start? So front compartment is my junk drawer of my truck. I have all kinds of random stuff in here. It's more based around bushcraft survival things that I'm gonna need. Like I said, I have headlamps. I have lanterns and lights all over the place here. I have a fire making kit. I have extra knives. I have stick lighters, I have cups for my beer, I have T60 shelters, I have the big folding machete from Gerber, I have extra, I don't even know what this is, I have play rockets that we can shoot around at each other. We have all kind of stuff in here. What's cool about these bins is they do come out, so they lift out just like that. So if I do need to move this around, or I'm taking it in the house to clean it or go through it or add more gear, really easy. Next part of that, I have some water purification methods. So I do use the Grail a lot in the summer. I showed that in a video, I think last summer. Great water purifier. So if we're out or we're going out on a trail or hiking for the day, I just grab that. And then something new in my life that has been around forever, and everybody makes fun of me now at the school because they're like, what, you never owned one of them, is a jet boil. I do have a jet boil in here. Now, being a campfire boiling water guy, that's always gonna be my favorite, right? But when I get up in the morning and I need that cup of coffee, and I need it now, this thing to get my water hot, lifesaver. Better than the stove and everything. So I am hooked on it for life at this point. Oilcloth tarp, I keep one of them all the time. Never know when I'm gonna use that or camp outside. These tie-outs are for something we're gonna show in a little bit. So these are just like ratchet straps. This is another one of the supplied utility cases that come with the deck system. So I open this thing up. This has a lot of parts that go along with my awning, which we're gonna open up here in a minute. Now moving on back a little bit, I have a first aid kit, okay? Pretty comprehensive. There's everything from normal band-aids to trauma gear in here. I do have a trauma kit in my front center console. So if I'm driving down the road and something traumatic is happening to somebody, I have a trauma kit. And if something happens around camp, it is literally right there for everybody to grab. Everybody knows it's there. But I carry a bigger first aid kit for when we're around camp, burns, stings, all that kind of stuff. These gloves, if you've never owned a pair of these, I highly recommend get a pair. They're called extrication gloves. You notice they have like this real rough side here, okay? They allow glass not to cut through, very hard to poke through. You can literally grab thorn bushes and like yank on them and you're fine. They're made for like vehicle accidents and stuff like that. I've had a pair now in multiple vehicles that I had. I use them as for work here on the property. They're awesome gloves. And then as I said, on the other side, I use one of these big large cases from Decked for more supplies. This one is all hygiene items. Now, as I said earlier in the video, I have my family just pack clothes, so everything's here. Same for me, I don't have to grab a toothbrush or anything. And that concludes my deck system. Now here's the setup of this vehicle and where my mindset was when I set this thing up. Then we're gonna get into the big stuff. So on this side of the vehicle, the way I'm pointing right now, spare water, that utility style gear, stuff that once I'm at camp, I'm probably not gonna need. Now I could take the water jugs off, so I will need those, but I'm not really gonna need to get to that side of the vehicle all that much. From this point that way, we use a lot of this for cooking. So we have our stove, propane tank underneath. We have the back end here to be able to work on and put things down. Again, all those bins, utility hygiene, they go underneath. And then, of course, on this side, we can wash our dishes and we can get our food supplies out, our cooking supplies out of the gear pod. Now, the problem becomes, well, what if it's gonna rain? So we got that all figured out. We have a rooftop awning. The rooftop awning I have is from Overland Vehicle Systems, okay? It is a batwing awning, meaning it swings all the way out over my tailgate and grill and all the way out to my front doors. Just like that, the awning is all set up. So very simple. It's also very simple to put away. Once you understand the folding method, just like a tent, you're good. I've never had a problem putting this away yet. Now this awning is supportive on itself. So what that means is I don't need to pull poles out and utilize poles. They do supply poles for all of, I guess what you call the ribs to add support, or in high winds you can stake all them out. They have 3 poles built in, so you literally just Velcro them like this. The poles drop down and then that adds support to the ribs. Okay, so that's nice. I do find that dropping the 3 they have built in is perfect. It gives enough support. Super high winds, I have not experienced yet with this thing, but lots of rain and stuff, it works perfectly. All right, so This part of the vehicle is somewhat under construction, I would say. I'm just playing with how I want to fit everything. Luckily, I only have one child, so the jumper seat in the back folds down right there. Jax hangs out there. What you might notice, if you can see it on camera or not, is we do have a battery pack in the vehicle, so that way when the vehicle's off, we can also run this battery pack, keep stuff running with this. And then the big thing I'm laying on is actually a cooler and refrigerator. So this is plugged into the center console here, okay? And you can set this up. This is from Set Power. I'm gonna do a review on this for everybody because this is like one of the newer hot things I'm noticing people that car camp use. Half of this I've set up as a freezer. You literally take ice cream along with you. And the other half is my refrigerator for all my cold drinks, my meat, and stuff like that. So this stays back here. I also am in the process of making a cord so I can run it out, but I can also run the battery pack out. It eliminates ice and all the craziness. So this is my refrigerator that I have my haversack back here. I never leave home without it. I have some folding chairs, so we have seating options for everybody. I have my rain gear. I have my poncho liner if I need another blanket in a pinch, a small shovel, and an axe. Now last but not least, I gotta sleep, and my family gotta sleep. So we have a rooftop tent. This is an iCamper tent. Very easy and simple to set up. You basically just unlock it, and then you give it a good push, and it starts to open up. Now the ladder is built in. Now with a big truck like this, I have to climb up here and then I have to jump back down and all that good stuff, but it opens up really easily this way. So I'm gonna flip this out, and this is the larger size of it, just like that. Ladder drops down and we are ready to head up and set it up the rest of the way. And literally within about a minute and a half, my tent is all set up, easily sleeping 3 people, my wife, my son, and myself, with extra room in there for gear and stuff like that, okay? So rooftop tent, we're gonna do a more detailed review on that. I see more and more of them at the local state park, so obviously there's some interest. Last but not least, you see I have 2 cases up on the roof. And I just open this up to get inside, okay? Now inside these are basically just sleep gear. So this one honestly just has pillows in it. So we have a bunch of big pillows jammed inside. That makes that more comfortable up there. And then on the other side, I have a bunch of blankets. I have our wool blankets and stuff like that. So the iCamper rooftop tent does allow for some storage inside it when it's compacted. But I realized if it's very bulky, like those big pillows and stuff, it just doesn't shut right. You can make it work, but it seemed like it was stressing the unit so much being shut like that. So inside that, I keep all lightweight gear. So I keep a sleeping bag, and then I keep, which this thing is probably my favorite thing that I have up there. This is a big quilt from Jax Are Better. It's called their Overland quilt. It is super warm. It is super huge. It is the same footprint as the inside of this tent, so it's super big, and it's awesome. I love it, and it crushes down to almost nothing, and it's super warm. So I usually put my kid in a sleeping bag, and then my wife and I, we lay under this, okay? And there you go, that is today's video. A little bit longer than normal, but it was all the gear that's in my Overland camping vehicle. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, hit the subscribe and like button below. You can also check us out over at Coalcrackerbushcraft.com for when you step away from your vehicle and get deep into the woods with all that traditional fun bushcraft and survival gear. And hopefully, you know, you're having a good time on this channel, because I'm having a good time making all these videos for everybody. So take some parts of this, see some of the gear I carry, maybe apply it to what you have in your car camping arsenal, and move forward from there. So this was Dan Wowak with Coalcracker Bushcraft. As always, check us out at Coalcrackerbushcraft.com, and until next video, stay in the woods, or at least like camp.